What is going on? It is currently Tuesday night, and I quickly just wanted to go over today's price action. I wanted to quickly touch base on yesterday. Yesterday was a good trading day on paper, but I wasn't very happy with the executions, and I sort of abandoned my game plan, and I'm going to dive into that and quickly explain why here. So looking at Monday, the first thing I noticed was these relative equal lows in the morning. So I marked these up as these are a great liquidity pool. These are a great draw on liquidity. So I marked these up and realized that these might be a potential target for later in the day. And going into market open here, we just boosted at 9:30, just pumped and took out the London highs, which I had marked up there. So whenever you take out a London high, Asia high, New York high, it's a great spot to look for a reversal because these highs are great liquidity pools. So a lot of the time when you sweep a London high or a London low, you can expect price to reverse, and that's exactly what happened on Monday. So we have this Judas swing in the morning. We take out the London high, which I have marked up, and at this point I start looking for a reversal to these equal lows. So again, I have these equal lows marked up. I'm watching price. I looked at this short for a potential short, but I didn't really like it. I just wanted to see a little bit more price action. I wanted to see a little bit more structure before I start taking the first inverse of the day. So it's a good thing I didn't take that, skipped out on that, and noticed that price started to reverse heavy here. And at this point, I started getting a little bit of FOMO because I knew that these equal lows were going to hit, but price was just not really giving me an entry. You could argue that this is an entry here. This tiny little gap gets inverse, but again, this is just too minute for me. That's way too small, so I didn't enter there. Again, price just printing towards these equal lows. And because I just felt like I was missing out, because I was getting some FOMO, I started to force shitty trades, man. Shitty trades that I should not be trying to force. Trades that just simply didn't meet my trading plan, and I'm going to quickly dive into it here. So the first trade I ended up taking was this candle close here. I just entered a short randomly because I was very confident in this draw on liquidity, but again, I shouldn't have done it. I knew I was sort of doing something wrong. I knew I was abandoning my trading plan. So as soon as we took this internal low here, I immediately went to break even. Price came back, stopped me out, got kind of frustrated, knew that these equal lows were going to hit. Didn't know, obviously, you never know, but I was confident in these equal lows hitting. Just such an obvious liquidity pool in my eyes. And then this second trade I took as soon as, I believe I took it somewhere in here. Again, there was no rhyme or reason to any of this shit. I woke up kind of late. I felt kind of flustered and rushed. And because of that, I just didn't feel like I was fully prepared for the trading day. I didn't really get the chance to do my regular morning routine. And again, this isn't an excuse. It's just part of the reason why I think this day was just relatively sloppy. So my second trade was somewhere in here. I believe I entered on the close of this candle. We had a 2-minute gap here, saw price come back into this 2-minute gap, and I knew that this would probably get respected to the downside. So I was watching this on the 2-minute. We hit this 2-minute gap, dropped, took out these equal lows, and that was a small win. Again, wasn't very happy about that win. And some people say a win's a win, but again, if you're not following your trading plan, it's just a recipe for disaster. So I took a step back from the computer, realized that I really wasn't following my plan, but at the same time, we did sweep these equal lows. So once these equal lows did get swept, that's when I started looking for potential reversals to the upside. So we come down, we sweep these equal lows. I sort of took a little bit of a 2-minute breather, got my head out of the gutter, and then we luckily got a very clean setup here. And realistically, this is the only setup I should have taken on Monday. And it just goes to show why patience is so important, man. You can force as many trades as you want, like I did on Monday. But the funny thing is, after you force these trades, it always seems like a beautiful opportunity presents itself right after. And that's exactly what happened on Monday. So after forcing these two shitters, let's say these two shitty trades, I immediately see that we have this fair value gap on the 1 minute here, this bearish fair value gap. We displace under these relative equal lows. And once we displace below, we immediately shoot back above and close above this bearish fair value gap, inversing it. And at this point, I decide to enter in long. So I enter once this candle closes above. I put the stop to break even as soon as we take these internal highs. And I held to about halfway point of this wick. Again, I'll pop up the executions on the screen here in a second. But the reason I decided to take profits here, and again, this was a relatively big trade for me as it was about 40 points, give or take. But the reason I decided to hop out there was simply because if you look at the higher time frame, we have a bearish 15-minute gap. So you can see that price dips below these equal lows. Our entry was down here. Price comes back up and then retests this 15 minutes. So I didn't want to get too cutesy with it. I didn't want to try to fade this bearish 15-minute gap, because a lot of the time the higher time frame gets way more respected than the lower time frames. So a lot of the time you'll see price shoot into these 15 minutes and then immediately reject. And those rejections might look small in the 15 minute, but on the 1 minute, they could be huge. They could be 30, 40, 50 points. So I didn't want to try to get too cute with this bearish 15 minute. And as you can see, price does get a little reaction out of it. It acts as resistance for the next 30 minutes. So that just goes to show you that price was respecting that bearish 15 minute. So again, that's why I hopped out there. Solid trade. Again, was probably the only trade of the day I should have taken. It was a fairly big winner. I believe I made about $700 on that, which is close to 1.5%. Made about $200 on the other trade that I took that I shouldn't have taken. So I believe we made close to $1,000 on the day, which is a good day on paper. But again, I wasn't really too thrilled with the executions. I think I got relatively lucky. The fact that I got stopped out at break even and won that second trade. But again, it is what it is. It's all a learning experience. You got to take these trades and sort of, jot down what went wrong. And as long as you realize that you shouldn't be taking them, that's great. You can work on that in the future and try to eliminate these trades you shouldn't be taking as a whole. Slowly but surely chip away at taking less of these B minus setups and just focus on the A plus setups, which is really what I've been working on most in the past couple weeks. And I am getting a lot better at it. But again, no one's perfect. I still do get FOMO. I still do take some trades I shouldn't be taking. And Monday is a perfect example of that. But again, not a bad day on paper. I'll take it. Still some things I got to work on. So let's hop to Tuesday real quick here. Let's hop to today, and I'll sort of briefly discuss what I was looking at on the charts. So today was a pretty news heavy day. I think we dropped about, where are we here? I think we dropped about 2%. We got the war in the Middle East, a lot of red folder news. There's a little bit of panic selling in the market. And I was very, very picky about the trades I was taking today because of that, because I knew there was a lot of news. There's a lot of things going on in the world that are affecting the stock market. So I was just looking for A plus setups. And this was the one setup that I had my eye on today that I did not take, and I'll tell you why. So looking at the 15-minute chart, here, we had this low from 2 Fridays ago. I had this low marked up, and hopping back to the 1 minute, we can see that, let me just replay, let me go back in time here. So we can see that price got very close to sweeping this low, but it didn't take it. It didn't take it on NAS, it didn't take it on ES, so there was no SMT. If there was an SMT with ES, I would have been a little bit more bullish bias, but not ES didn't take it, NAS didn't take it, so I still thought that this was going to be the drawn liquidity just simply because it got so close. This is about 5 points away. So in my eyes, these are relative equal lows. Looking again at the 15, you can see that it got very close with this wick here. Zooming out. Almost took it, but didn't quite take it. So again, this was the drawn liquidity in my eyes, and I was looking for shorts to this low. And we did get one short opportunity here, but the reason I didn't take this short was because it didn't meet my trading plan. And again, like I said, you need to be patient and you need to wait for these A plus setups. And because of this one thing, this setup wasn't A plus, and I decided not to take it. So I'm very happy with the discipline I had today. If price action isn't perfect, it's okay not to take trades, and I'm trying to sort of really get that in my head and nail that down. Less is more when it comes to trading, man. The less trades you're taking, the better. You just gotta wait for those high quality setups. And this setup was nice, but again, because of this one reason, it didn't meet my trading criteria, so I didn't take it. And this one reason is because we simply had equal highs above. So I was looking at this 1 minute this 1 minute gap here, and I was waiting for this gap to get inversed, and then the plan was to take it to these relative equal lows. We did get the candle close here, and I was tempted to take it. I was tempted to press the button, but I didn't, simply because we had these relative equal highs above. So price was sort of stuck between these relative equal highs and these relative equal lows. And because of that, price could have just as easily came back up, took these relative equal highs, and then continued to drop. So I was just, I just wasn't that confident in this setup. It didn't meet my, it wasn't the perfect entry model for me. It didn't really meet my criteria. And because of that, I decided to opt out of taking this trade. And as you can see, price closes below this gap, inversing it, and then immediately dumps and hits what would have been my TP. So it was a bit sad to watch it hit my potential take profit, but you know what? Watching it hit my TP without me knowing that I followed my rules was a pretty good feeling, man. So yeah, I didn't take a trade today. We had no profits on Tuesday, but the fact that I stayed disciplined and followed my trading plan, in my opinion, counts for more than taking winning trades. So I'm happy the way I performed today. And again, it's sometimes you will have those days where you don't get any A plus setups, and it's really better just to sit on your hands instead of trying to force setups. And that's exactly what happened today. And I'll take it. I'll take it. It means I'm getting more disciplined. It means my trading's getting better. And yeah, that's basically it. That sums up the past 2 days. And let's see what the rest of the week brings for us. So just a quick update on the Trade of 8 on the Apex challenge. The challenge is currently at 52,250, meaning we have another 750 to pass. We got about 1.5%, and then we are on to the live account. So that is the most recent update regarding the account. I know Spen is still sitting at about 5,200, so we both have around 2%, give or take. And yeah, let's just see what we can do here. Let's try to stay disciplined. We're gonna try to wait for those A plus setups and pass these accounts and get some payouts going for you.